Despite the appeal by the United Nations, the Security Council failed to adopt a strong resolution to put an end to war crime happening in Syria. United States and Russia, they're still clashing about this issue. For more detail in this report. A divided UN Security Council who met recently in an emergency meeting to investigate the allegation use of the chemical weapons on civilians failed to adopt a draft resolution to refer Syria to an international criminal court due to the objection by permanent members Russia and China.
Our obligation to enact a meaningful response will be further intensified. It is my hope and the hope of the Secretary General that such a response will favor unity, not impunity. As always, the Office for Disarmament Affairs stands ready to provide whatever support and assistance it can.
UN High Representative for Disarmament Affairs asked the UN Security Council to meet any evidence of the use or likely use of banned chemical weapons in Syria with a strong response, according to the international law.
The very future of the international non-proliferation regime in the chemical field in particular. So in our views, the authors of these barbaric acts, since we know that chemical weapons are used time and again in Syria, whoever they are, must not remain unpunished. They need to be identified and held accountable. We cannot accept any obstruction of the international community's action on accountability. This is simply not acceptable.
Meanwhile, most of the UN Security Council members expressed their concern about the continuous allegation use of chemical weapons in town of Saraqib.
The UK is deeply concerned by the 3 reports of chlorine use in eastern Ghouta by the Syrian regime forces that have been reported this year already in 2018. If that's confirmed, that's not only an attack by Assad on his own people, using the most abhorrent weapons that we have, but it's also an attack on the international community, on the international regimes against proliferation, the consensus we have had for many years against chemical weapons use.
According to credible reports, 9 people have been treated with a breathing problem after a bomb believed to be filled with a toxic gas was dropped on the opposition-held town in Idlib province.
Deeply shocked by the continuous reports of use of chemical weapons in Syria in many places. And what we think is inconceivable that currently impunity reigns. There was a good mechanism, the JIM, that was vetoed 3 times and it couldn't continue. And we have to find a new way to achieve accountability very concretely.
In November last year, the Security Council failed to adopt a resolution to renew the mandate of an international panel investigating the use of chemical weapons in Syria, due to the use of veto by permanent member Russia. Meanwhile, the United States still insists that the Syrian government has its own chemical weapon program and is still using it against the civilian, despite the agreement between the United States and Russia 2013 to destroy the stockpile of these weapons. Hassan Abuzzaitoun, Security Council, New York.